Welcome to the Lake Forest Podcast, a podcast about the lovely city of Lake Forest, featuring topics like local news, sports, music, people, and food. My name is Pete, and I'm joined with the voice of the Lake Forest Scouts, football and basketball, and everything else, Skoo Walker. How you doing, Skoo?
Good morning, Pete. How are you on this cold Friday?
Oh, it was chilly. It's no 60 degrees.
Wow, how about Wednesday, huh?
Oh.
I wish it was 60 today with the sun.
Well, I don't know, awesome. Man. I was going to ask about that wind. We'll get back to that in a little bit.
I was actually on my scooter, and I took off. I felt like the witch in Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, that moped is pretty cool.
The scooter.
Oh, scooter. I see how we did that. Scooter.
Right.
Hey, Skoo, we got a new sponsor, man. New Patreon sponsor.
Uh-oh. Who's that?
Shark Guy Beach Fishing. They are the premier South Florida beach fishing experience, and they're out of Longboat Key, Florida. It's over by Tampa. Their world-renowned captains not only put you on the fish, but they'll help you and your family make a memory of a lifetime. Check them out on... What's Skoo?
How do we get them? Are we stretching across the borders now?
Florida. Well, you know, half of Lake Forest lives in Florida. Nice. Check us out. Check them out on Facebook or at sharkguybeachfishing.com. Contact them today to schedule an outing. Shark Guy is your guy for your next charter. How you like that, Skoo?
I like that. Way to go.
Hey, we'd also like to thank our Patreon supporters, not sponsors, supporters. Reverend Luke Back from the Church of the Holy Spirit, Matt A., Elizabeth B., Costa, Lance, and Domo Origato Otto.
Mr. Roboto Otto.
That is such an underrated tune.
That group's underrated.
Well, Skoo, I'm sure any band that you put the YouTube link out there is underrated.
I might have to get some sticks sending out there, get really people fired up.
That was a pretty hot junior prom dance for you, I'm sure.
No junior prom for me.
Oh, you were working it. Did you have to like DJ or call it or?
No. Are you kidding me? I think, no, that was my senior prom. Junior prom, I got dumped at the prom, walked home.
What? How does that go? You were the safety date?
I was the safety date, and the gal I went with decided she wanted to be with her girlfriend. So I got up and walked home.
And you know what? I know she's listening. She's listening, Skoo.
I know she's not listening.
Oh, all right. You don't want to diss the Skoo, man. Skoo, next week is Christmas. What's the plans?
Carly gets home Monday, so just waiting for her arrival.
Oh yeah. Money.
And I think we're going to do a little low key. Pam's mom's coming over, and I got to start brewing up the Christmas cookies. I did
you make cookies.
Oh yeah.
Let me guess, peanut butter.
I do those. I do what else do I do? The peanut butter. I do a lot of stuff. The sugar, the peanut butter ones with the little chocolate kiss drop. Ooh, those are tasty.
You do the little fork marks in it?
No, because you put the little kiss in the middle of it.
Oh, those, yeah. Maureen makes those.
Wow. So yeah, I'm doing that, and but yeah, we still got to get our shopping done, and got the Christmas stuff up. Like I said, we got to get the tree finished. Waiting for Carly to do that. So yeah, what about you?
I think I'm going to be brave and do another bird.
Ooh.
The bird was such a big hit. we got all the in-laws that live in town here and a bunch of hungry nieces and nephews coming back from college. No
Are they all
better.
coming to your place? Or are you going over to theirs?
They stop by UP. They stop by. They raid the fridge, and so I figure one big 20-pound bird ought to slow them down for a little bit. To cook a bird in an hour, man, you can't beat that with a stick. So that's Christmas Eve, and then Christmas Day, I think we're going with my family over to Arlington Heights. Oh yeah, the Heights, the future of the Bears, I guess.
How many in the Jansen household?
Small
Is
group.
Is everyone in your family 8 feet tall?
There's no bigger head in the family than mine, but no, I'm the big guy. I always wondered what the milkman looked like.
Tall.
From the land of near misses.
No church or anything like that? Are you church goers, midnight mass type of thing? Over to Reverend Luke's place.
The wife does that, and I have to get into a routine. I may have to drop a little something in the bucket at Reverend Luke's.
Yeah, my mom-in-law used to sing in the choir there. I don't think she's doing it this year, but it's always late for me. I always kind of doze off at that midnight mass. I don't end up going, but
you were a snooze or a choir guy, weren't you? Falsetto.
Yeah, right.
So what's
people
the favorite?
People don't like me getting near a church. I almost afraid I might get struck or something when I get close to a church.
You always got to keep your head on a swivel.
Always
looking up
in life, motto of life: head on a swivel.
Skoo, what the hell was up with that wind last week?
What wind?
Are you serious?
Oh, wind.
Wind.
I thought you said win. Like who won?
It's my dialect.
I think it's it's that weather machine up in Alaska that's being turned on and off for stuff.
Well, I guess you go from 60 to 20. I guess a front's coming in, but shout out to the garbage guys, man. Or what do you call them? Sanitation engineers? What's the proper term?
I call them garbage guys.
I love the garbage guys, man. They always wave at you and they always get the stuff, and especially the recycle guys. You can't even.
I know. Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, you can't even recycle stuff anymore because you can't put anything in it.
Well, I do.
I get those stickers. My can is just full of the.
Stickers?
Don't put this. Yeah, they give you the little notes that say, "Hey, man, don't do that. Don't put this stuff in."
Pete, that's plastic. I just take it, put it in the truck, and take it out to the dump. Dum, 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 dum. And by the way, Pete, with the Christmas holiday season around, remember your mail people and your garbage people and all that.
I was going to ask you, what's the tipping etiquette?
As an ex-service person back in the day when I delivered papers, there was no real. I was just happy with something and thankful. And then the people that didn't, boy, did they pay a price. They could never find their papers. No, I'm kidding.
Well, no. Well, first of all, those guys, on the record, they can't take any tips, of course.
Right,
but if they're picking up garbage and all of a sudden they find a 20, think 20 is fair?
I think that's nice. That's a gallon of gas. Or gift card.
But no, I mean, the garbage guys, the mail guys, they're pretty good in this town. Now, what if it's not same? What if it's not the same mail guy though, and you tip one guy that
how I do it is I have a couple of them, but not I have one consistent person. comes to the office and comes to the house, and she's always loaded up with treats for the big guy here. And
Yeah, that's the same person, I think, or they all got treats because Orville, I mean, I can't tell you how many times he's almost gone through the door to get it.
Oh my God. Cooper, it's like he sees her coming from miles away and he starts frothing. But I don't know if I might get her a box of biscuits or something, because she spends a lot of dough on that. No, not doing
Yeah. Wow. You give her some biscuits.
Might make her some cookies.
No, big shout out to the sanitation guys. Who's in charge of those guys, Skoo?
I don't know off the top of my head. Sanitation department.
Man. Well, here, let's
Mike Tom. No, not Mike Thomas. I think he has streets.
City of Lake Forest. Here, let's do a little investigation here.
But yeah, they dig in the pockets, because those guys.
No, man, I am impressed with these guys. I'm impressed.
And we take advantage of that, because not too many towns and cities get the.
Oh, here we go.
That we do.
Brian, hold on. Brian Pokachnik. Brian, man, thank you, man. I got your name wrong, but how many times have you been given the big thumbs up on a podcast, huh? Way to go to your team, man.
Who's above him?
I just see sanitation supervisor Brian Bognick. God dang it. Bognichik.
Jeez.
From
a guy from downtown, you should be nailing those names.
Nah, we're not with this dialect. Okay. Hey, man, it was good to see you Wednesday.
Yeah. Glad you made it. It's a good session.
Let's tell everybody what the session was. We had the turf meeting, right?
Turf meeting on Deer Path Park, and whether to turf it or natural grass it.
Yeah.
They had the rec provided a public forum kind of conversation, roundtable, discussing, the public's view on all this. I thought it was great. I mean, they do this every once in a while, and I thought it was fantastic.
Well, let's see here. So to give everybody, can you see any of this?
Yeah.
All right. So where's my little arrow here?
Oh, here we go. You're high tech.
Well, let me get to the beginning here. Oh, I got a jury summons.
Uh-oh.
How do you get out of that? Or you got to do your civic duty?
I don't know. I've done one a long time ago. And
so why are they after me?
You got a podcast. Your podcast is causing angst amongst people, so they're getting back at you.
All right. So anyways, Wednesday, we went to a turf meeting. And who are these guys that put this thing on?
The Rec.
The Rec. So this is the company that they're paying money to put in the turf, or to give them advice on the turf?
I believe both.
Okay. So this is what was on the table there there was about 60 people that showed up. Player safety was an issue. Playability. Are you saying that it's hard to play on that grass, Skoo?
I'm not saying that. I think, well, it is. It's the grass. It's the ball diamonds. It's just I don't know if it's hard to play. It's just dangerous to play on it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been maintained in the last 15 years the way it should be.
So this is all the stuff they had on the table to read. You can call out anything that on-site improvements. Financial, that's kind of an important thing, right?
Kind of.
Environmental sustainability. There are people there that were complaining that, let me get the big picture here. There's water here. Is there a river there or something, Skoo?
That is
Like right along here is the
Skokie.
river or something.
Yeah.
So we had people saying, hey man, there's rubber in that turf. And last I checked, the plan, this is supposed to stay grass, and then everything up here is going to be turf, right?
Right.
Okay.
Turf all the way up to the, I believe, keep going.
I
Right
got a
there.
piece of paper. Yeah. That's what Croya and whatever.
The wreck.
Correct. Okay. So I didn't understand. That's something I understand player safety. I understand cost, but the environmental side, I didn't understand that we're worried about the rubber stuff that's in that turf getting
Well,
into the
first off, I believe it's not rubber like the high school. It's going to be a synthetic grass, is my understanding.
Okay.
And
everybody thought it was rubber,
no.
at least at my table, because
my
everybody
understanding is a synthetic grass, not like the high school, which is rubberized. But that could be different. I don't know. That's what I was told.
All right. So,
but I don't know what, I'm not understanding the negative responses to the environment and all that. Besides, recyclability of the turf, I guess, is what they're saying. They are able to recycle it, but it doesn't disappear. It's still there.
So the red dash line here that's going around, that's the area in question.
Well, the turf is within the white.
The turf is
the white
right
line.
In here, right?
Yep.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Go further back towards the school, towards the, nope, other way. White line there.
White line.
God, you're making me dizzy.
Oh. So people are talking about, they think that it's going to go all the way back here because of that red line. And why do they have a red line in there? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. I think that was confusing. But did you, because we're all sitting at tables, right? And all look like, we're all sitting in the tables here. Skoo, you're doing your civic duty somewhere around. There you are.
I am.
Yeah. Got your mask on. Nice. So we all sat in these tables and we had that checklist to go through that says what's important to us. And then at the end, everybody, there's a leader for the table. And then we say, hey, this is what was important to us. And it was all the same stuff over and over and over. Right? Okay. So for those, there was 60 people or so there, I would say. And a lot of politicians were there. Did you notice that?
I did, which I don't understand, but I know one alderman should be there because he's the liaison to the rec board.
Okay, so we did it. We were there. There were a couple of cops there.
Yeah. Cops there, firemen there.
Now,
they
why were
stakes? They have stakes in it too. I mean, they got, something happens, they got to get the trucks, ambulances, police over there, even though they're right next door. But
the traffic thing I heard was an issue. They're talking about widening the lanes. Is that?
Yeah, I mean that's yeah. I mean, I don't know if that's a valid issue. Yeah, I mean it's an issue. I shouldn't say that. I mean, I don't think it's going to hold up shouldn't hold up turfing it. I think that's
Okay.
traffic is after the fact, in my opinion, that, because traffic is only an issue. It's not an issue now. And if the fields are used for current play for the kids,
Yeah.
I mean, now down the line, if they decide to have tournaments there and et cetera, yeah, could be an issue. But I mean, the issue is really, should it be done or should it not be done? And the one thing, it was a good session, but I don't think a lot of these people have a good context of the history behind the fields and what they used to be, what they used to do, and how we got to this point of should there be turf or not.
How did we get to this point? I mean, this is Lake Forest. Why do we get such a crummy field there, Skoo?
Well, I mean, years and years ago when this was done, when they put the light standards there, I mean, it was a beautiful, beautiful park. I mean, they had grass infields on the 4 fields. Everything was lush, plush. The city had their own parks department that maintained all the fields and all the parks, neighborhood parks, the fields there. So, I mean, it was always, and well maintained and, accessible to everyone, whether it's the rec in their programming or, going to neighborhood parks. And then there was some city consolidation where the parks department was kind of dissolved and moved under the rec department to become the parks and rec department. And there was a edict and that was made that, that it costs too much money to maintain fields. And I used to coach there. I used to play softball there. And this Deer Path Park was an attraction outside. We used to have tournaments there, little league tournaments, softball tournaments, and people coming here loved it. Unfortunately, the city decided years ago that it cost too much to maintain it. So what they did is they, as they call it, skimmed the infield, took all the grass away, and had very reduced staff to maintain the fields, as well as, I mean, and this falls in line with, the golf course, Deer Path, being renovated and all that. It simultaneously, there was a move to limited resources on, or the same few resources on maintaining parks, including Deer Path. So, and then there was, with the neighborhood parks that were classified as active parks, there was a big push from the community that, neighborhood people didn't like baseball games going on there, soccer games going on at their neighborhood park. So, some of the historical people that, I shouldn't say historical because people are going to confuse that, but people that had the history of Lake Forest decided, let's push for making these passive parks. Let's just go and, enjoy the park, the green space. And that was, again, a change that was made, and everything was kind of funneled to Deer Path for all the youth activities and all that. And, but again, I mean, you have all these youth activities: baseball, softball, soccer, flag football, tackle football, everything being run through the rec on those fields, and rugby. And those fields were barely maintained. I remember playing softball, and when I was coaching there, we used to kid around that, because they're skinned infields, when the wind picks up, the dust is created. We used to call them dust bowls. But, when that dust is kicked up, that dust doesn't fall right back down to the infield. It blows out, and there's no maintenance of it. So you have to replenish that. And with the grass in the fields, that was prevented. I mean, they used to water the fields. They used to water, it just stopped doing it. And not only did it, the fields become dangerous, but even the grass part, the outfields, the football, started getting unmaintained. They cut it every once in a while. And, so eventually we used to kid that it's, and turf was talked about years ago. This is nothing new. I mean, this is an initiative that has been talked about, just like the pool. Trying to get a public pool. The turf, not as long as the pool, but other communities started, creating these turf fields. I remember Vernon Hills was one of the first ones. They had a phenomenal complex with all that. So, it does make sense. And then it was other communities doing it. And meanwhile, Lake Forest is just kind of running high and dry on really crummy fields that these kids are playing on. And not only crummy, but dangerous. And I remember stopping playing softball there. I mean, it was just, as the technology of the equipment got better, that was like playing on cement, and the opportunity to get hurt. Oh, but even with the kids, so I mean, there was a big commitment to not take care of the fields because there's no money, there's no people to do it. And, some people will disagree. I was there. I was part of, a user as well as a employee coach that they just didn't do it. And it was eventually going to come to where it's at now. Is now what do you do? Now, every community around here, it's a competitive disadvantage for Lake Forest and these kids to play. I mean, kids with all these sports and all these clubs, kids are leaving the community because we have no facilities or good facilities. And unfortunately, we're kind of trapped as a community and beholden to Deer Path because there's no other areas. I mean, there's parks, West Park, South Park, Everett Park, Waveland, all these community parks we can use, and they should be used as alternate spots. If, I heard a discussion that the kids flag football this past fall had to cancel a bunch of games because it was too wet. I mean, I, kind of scratched my head on that one. I'm like, flag football is too wet. I mean, it's football. But, the opportunity is saying, instead of canceling it because Deer Path, which the fields are in a flood zone or floodplain, and when it does rain, it's not good. There's other parks they could have switched to that are not, that were, but that's a whole different issue. But so we're at that point now is, the city's looking at, how do we make this a competitive place for our kids, the youth, to utilize? And, the answer is turf. And, the answer is not grass. I personally would love to see these fields regraded, put the grass infields back in and maintain them, but you can't. That ship sailed 20 years ago or whatever it was. And to do that, the costs alone are going to be higher than doing the turf, just from a maintenance standpoint. Sodding and when sprinkler systems, to keep the grass going, fertilizer, all that. It just doesn't make sense anymore. And they're not going to go there. It's just not going to happen. And the turf is the answer. So, I think it needs to be done. I think with turfing the field, it's a huge cost, but I think they're doing their due diligence the right way and getting the state-of-the-art turf that's going to drain, that's going to be used by everyone. Now, it's going to be a big question once it's in there, who uses it, when they use it, user fees and all that. And that's something that the rec's going to have to establish, and they're going to have to create, I think, a whole nother group of folks working there that manage just the facility and who uses it. Because that is going to be a revenue generating opportunity for the rec in the city with that field.
So one of those things where it's like you want a vibrant downtown, but you don't want any businesses, or you want to make the rule, right? So we want Lake Forest to be a destination place for our kids to play sports, but we don't take care of any of the fields. We want to have our AAA, whatever it is, bond rate, right? Our low taxes, but we don't want to pay for the. So which is it? I mean, let's just say, hey, we want to keep low taxes, and we don't want to have any nice fields.
It's and no offense to anyone in Lake Forest, but it's typical Lake Forest. I mean, it's like this. I call it the building, the ex Knaus building up on Laurel Avenue that the grill used to be there, the restaurant, and it has some businesses in there now. That used to be, when that was going up, people wanted to, end the world. Like the world's coming to an end because we're putting a restaurant and all that, and we're never going to be able to sleep and this and that, and they fought it. But then it gets up there, and guess who the people are that are using it the most? The neighborhood people who screamed about it. It's like the gas station up in Westlake Forest and the car wash was fought, vigorously to defeat it. It's just the stupidest move I've ever seen. There used to be a gas station there, and, people in Westlake Forest have to drive, out of Lake Forest to get gas. And that was shot down, because people screamed. Too many people screamed about it. And no one, this doesn't make sense. Costco, everything. It just, people in Lake Forest just seem to want to jump on something, to scream about, to not do. I mean, again, and I'll throw the, block the box thing. I mean, people scream, they don't want to do stuff. And then when it's done, oh God, this is really nice. Oh God, I'm so glad we put a gas station and car wash out there because it makes life so much easier for the people out west. It's just this, constant thing that we're screaming about something. Deer Path Golf Course. Oh, let's, people are going, oh, we're not going to spend the money to renovate Deer Path. Let's just make it a nature trail. And, sensical people got through this stuff, and now it's one of the nicest, well-maintained public courses around. The beach, when the beach was being done, people were screaming bloody murder. I can't believe we're going to be taking down all that foliage, and, now we won't be able to screaming about that. And now it's done, and it's like, oh, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. It's just this constant evolution of something, is putting through, wanting to be done by the city. And, there's always someone, it never can be done just like, oh, great, this is wonderful, let's do it. It's always got to be someone on the other side screaming bloody murder about why you shouldn't do it. And here's my take on it. If it doesn't raise my taxes, it's not impacting me negatively, do it. It's for the betterment of the city, right? I mean, it's crazy how people react to stuff and act on stuff.
It's like I said, I'm 3 years in here. It seems to me like Lake Forest is built with a bunch of people who just moved in, and a bunch of people that live here half the time. Is that true? Is that true?
I don't know. I mean, it's gone through cycles. I mean, when I was growing up here, I mean, I don't remember people ever leaving during holiday season. It was all more people coming home. And then as I got a little bit older, it was more empty in the holiday season, which now I think it's cyclical where it is. But, it's kind of more transient people, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think, I see a lot of people moving in, and then their kids, they go through the school system because it's a great school system. And then they get out, and then they pack bags and move. So it's not, you don't get a lot of people like me, I guess, anymore. I mean, there are, but once I'm done with what I need from I'm out,
Yeah.
So
That's kind of what my take is, because you have these people weighing in on issues that haven't been here very long, or they're, in Florida half the time, and they come back,
right.
and I think that's why you get a lot of this wasted energy. You can't get.
Well, and I think it's also newer people in the community. They come from other communities that may have something or whatever, and feel that this should be this way, and here's why. But that's fine too. But it's more. I just think it's have these discussions. Get more informed. Kind of like we've talked about forever. Is educate yourself before, get more informed on what's going on, and then support it as opposed to fight it. And I understand with the turf, and I understand all the eco-friendly concerns and all, but come on, seriously?
What is the eco-friendly
I don't
concerns?
know. I have no. I think it's going to cause cancer or something. I'm like, everything does. I mean, it just doesn't make. Oh, we're going to have all this plastic here at the end of the day, and what do we do with it? I'm like, well, we're not going to solve it here with a turf field. That's something that the world's got to determine. We're going to have more plastic everywhere.
I mean, you have pesticides with the grass, right?
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I just think, this is for our kids or our future kids. I mean, it's something you got to keep up with what's going on competitively around us. I mean, it's the same with the city, right? I mean, we are competing with other towns. We're competing with other towns for the almighty dollar. And when we don't have a lot of restaurants and we have shut stores, and we don't have stores for people to shop at, they're going elsewhere. And guess what? That money leaves. I mean, it's the same thing here as these kids. If they don't have, the rec provides some phenomenal programming for the community, better than a lot of communities. But if we don't have the facility to utilize, you can have the greatest youth baseball program in the area, but if these kids are playing on cement, you know what these parents are going to do? They're going to go, you know what? I can go over to Libertyville and sign up. There's a club there or whatever it might be, and they're letting my non-resident kid play there on great fields. It's the same thing, and we have to start looking at, reality discussions on doing stuff and making things better. And again, if my taxes aren't going up, if my city remains AAA rated, if the schools are great, if this isn't impacting that, then and there's a way to fund it, what the hell are we sitting around discussing it for? Do it. Right. And we spend more money having consulting groups come in to ask questions when just, do it.
Yeah, I didn't, that meeting reminded me of the library. At least when the library discussion was together, the board members did the meeting themselves. They didn't have this other third party coming in, which I wonder.
I don't have a problem with the third party doing it. They're part of the whole process, but I mean.
Well, that meeting was pretty much, I'm not even sure why you had that meeting. How much is it going to cost? What's the safety,
Because it's a safety net to say, if you don't do it, well, here's why. Because we had a community meeting, several community meetings, and the community decided they don't want to do it. I think it's a cop-out. I think the Parks and Rec, the board, the rec department, the city can make this decision. I know what the decision they want is to do it, and they should do it. And there shouldn't be any pushback on it. Because the alternative is keeping it as is or redoing it all grass. And I would love to see that. But my thing is, if you're going to do that, then you have to open up all the neighborhood parks back to where you can utilize those fields as stopgaps, so to speak. But again, you're getting into a cost that, can you imagine going grass for a minute? Let's just say the turf fails and they're going to redo those 4 baseball diamonds, redo them, regrade them, get them the right way they should be played, redo the grass, fill in all the holes in the outfield, do all that, resod everything. Okay, right? Put a new sprinkler system in there to keep everything green, right? What happens in the June 4th through the 12th when it's 100 degrees, burning hot, and all that sod burns? Or the grass burns, or the water bills are so high? Well, you got to maintain it. The first thing they're going to do is pull the plug on maintenance. And then we're going to be back to square one again. So the cost alone to go back to it, like I said earlier, that ship sailed. When the old executive director and the city decided this is how we're going to do stuff, you can't go backwards. It's going to cost too much. And the turf, even though it costs a lot to implement and all that, from a maintenance standpoint, it's pretty cost effective. And, well, and we just got to move on.
When I went to the library meeting, they're trying to get community feedback on the addition. I didn't see any politicians in there, and it seemed
Right.
like they were all in this meeting. Is that normal, or what's the?
No, I think, again, my opinion and my opinion only is that, the city council has liaisons to each board and commission. And I don't see why. Here's my thing. I didn't like the council people there. Shouldn't have been there, in my opinion, because number one, when everything kind of unfolds and the rec board, let's just hypothetically say they decide to do the synthetic and they approve it, the rec board. Well, that doesn't mean it gets done, because the rec board Parks and Rec board is only advisory to the city council. So now it pushes up to the city council and they have to vote on it, whether to do it or not. They don't have to take the Parks and Rec board's recommendation. So I just think it's kind of interesting that we got some aldermen who feel they need to be there for whatever reason, which I don't think they should be there. They should not be listening, and and I don't say that yes, they're citizens, but they're not real. They hold a different stature as an alderman, as a decision maker, and they need to look at, particularly if they have their own opinion on it. I mean, I just don't think. I thought it was wrong for them to be there. They should not be there. And like you said, they weren't at the library stuff. Well, that's similar, kind of same stuff. But why I just think these are one of those issues that any issue. I don't think the aldermen should ever be at community discussions on topics that they're voting for at the end of the day. I think it's like a judge going out and uncovering his own evidence to make a decision. I just don't think it's right. They shouldn't have been there. And then two of them were hovering over our table listening to, and it just was like, God, back up. I mean, why are you here? They had no reason to be there. None.
It's almost like, corporations, they want to have a town hall meeting where the CEO wants to get feedback from its people. Yet all the vice presidents and managers are hovering around
to
hear what the people are saying. And then the people won't say anything because they're looking over and they see their boss there.
I thought it was 100% wrong of those aldermen that were there, except for Era, because he's the liaison and they should be there. Just like the other people, here's the thing. The people that were circulating, going from table to table, were Park and Rec board members, which they should be, because they're trying to make a decision. They're trying to gather the information from the community, the people that decided to come. And, they're making a decision that's going to be referred up to the city council. And I just don't, I think that's a poor decisioning on those city council members that were there trying to infiltrate and get, I don't know what their feeling is towards it, but I think it's wrong. I think it's wrong for any councilman or woman to be kind of subtly sticking their faces in decisions that they're making a final decision on, personally. My opinion only. Someone can say I'm wrong, but I think it's wrong, completely wrong. And it gets to the point where we get these contentious issues.
Yeah.
And I think it's wrong. I think that they didn't need to be there. I think if they weren't there, they're going to work on an informed decision. And, here's the thing. If they get something from the Parks and Rec board or any board, they have the right to overturn stuff. But I just think they should be making those decisions based on the facts that are gathered, not trying to skew those. And I don't say skew those, I say skew those.
So to sum it up, it's, what does it cost? Okay, 10 million, I'm guessing, right?
It's going to be.
Okay, what's the safety factors? Okay, when did the AstroTurf get put in Varsity Field?
Well, again, it's not AstroTurf, and I think that's an.
Okay, we're not in Houston, but artificial.
Well, Yeah, I know, but you got to understand that. I mean, there's a big difference between the turf that goes in and artificial or astroturf. Astroturf is just the carpet, and then
Yeah.
I mean, but that went into the high school. God, I mean, probably. Well, it went in. How old is the renovations of? Is it 15 years now?
Yeah, whatever it is, it's like, okay, was there a difference in injuries on the field?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, and that's the thing. It's like, and there was an orthopedic there in the discussions.
I like that guy.
Yeah, and he's a good guy, and he does a lot of, like you said, youth orthopedics around here. And if you listen to the science, he goes, there's no what is it, proof?
I think what he said was, if you have a crappy grass field or you have a crappy artificial field, if it's crappy, you're going to have more injuries, is what he said.
Right, and there's no attributing factor to, there's more injuries on a turf field than on a grass field. Okay. And there's not. I mean, I've seen it just announcing. I've never seen kids tripping over
seam.
A seam. Yeah, I mean, but the one of the problems I think is with the turf is if typically they're going to the longevity of that is, what is it, like 8 to 10 years, let's call it.
Yeah. I
mean, if you're looking at, holding events there, even keeping the fireworks display there, I mean, that's going to be a lot of wear and tear on that field, not used for youth athletics. So, you're going to be looking at possibly, swapping it out sooner than what the projected 8 to 10 years are. But again, it might be worth it if the revenue coming in is worth it.
And then the third thing, which I didn't think about going in, was the environmental, and I'm still lost on that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an environmentalist. I love the planet and all that stuff, but you know what? We're not going to solve those issues. A turf field's not going to solve. And every community around here has them. So
now
I don't know.
What's on the west, since you live on the west side, what are the parks on the west side over there? Can they use some of that new property over there? Not new property, but like where the new city hall is and all that stuff, or the business offices?
There's a couple parks out there. There's Town Line Road, which was created several years ago, that it's a soccer field, lacrosse, and a couple baseball diamonds. But the problem there is it's like a flood thing too. That thing doesn't, it gets heavy rain, it's unusable. You sink out there, which probably was the biggest mistake to put it out there. But again, those were decisions made that, but that, they've talked about turfing that field too. But, if you turf that field as opposed to Deer Path, that's so not centrally located. I mean, I don't think it's worth it to do.
All right. What's going on at the Gorton Community Center, Skoo?
Nice. Christmas. Jolly, family concert.
We love our people at Gorton. What do we got? December 13th through the 17th, gingerbread house decorating.
Nice. Not good at that.
December 15th through January 6th, Gorton's Yuletide Tour of Lights. Are they going to tour your house?
Yeah, no.
I think they're going to go right by mine. December 19th, Holly Jolly concert with the Lake Forest Civic Orchestra. Who are those?
They did the gingerbread house. What are they going to do? Those fruitcake makings? Done a class that makes fruitcakes?
I don't know. I think there's a couple of fruitcakes on this show. December 21st, longest night, a seasonal service of reflection renewal. January 4th, Red Cross blood drive. January 14th, Rendezvous Arts Capriccio Quartet. They're going to have to come on the show and explain some of this stuff, Skoo. And that's what's going on at the Gorton Center.
Hey, there's another thing going on at the train depot here in town.
What you got?
Mother's Trust and a lot of
Oh, yeah.
nonprofits are, selling stuff there to support. So go in there and buy some gifts and support the nonprofits over there.
Mother's Trust. We like those people. Be nice if they had their own carnival during the summer, Skoo.
Yep. What they do, now's the time to help them the most, I think.
Yeah.
Season of giving.
All right. So based on the last podcast, we had some listener response on the desserts, plus all the input that Skoo gave on what businesses we should have represented for desserts. Okay, you ready for the list, Skoo? Here's what the poll is going to go out in the Saturday morning email. Best dessert in town.
Ooh.
Francesca's.
Oh, the votes are in?
No.
Oh.
We're supposed to have nominations.
Gotcha.
Right? Nominations. Francesca's, Deer Path, Lantern. Somebody suggested them for their chocolate cake. Sweets, Gerhardt's.
Ooh, yeah, Gerhardt's.
And I don't know, I was going to put Chiefs in there, but I can't remember if they got any desserts over there, Skoo. I've never gotten one there.
I think they have some Budweiser products that serve as dessert too.
Is an aperitif like we'll put Chiefs down for an aperitif. Okay.
Right, well, let's think through this now. Who's all?
Okay.
What else? Other.
It's one of the little, little nightcap is what you're saying.
How about Ferentino's? They got some mean tiramisu.
All right.
Like, you like tiramisu?
As the wife does, if you're going gluten free, that's the way to go.
I tell you what, if you haven't had a good tiramisu, go over to Ferentino's. Whew. Who else?
Travels well. This is the last call, Skoo. I'm putting out the survey today.
I'm trying to think.
Pressure.
If the place in what's the place in?
What about gallery? Does Cecilia have anything?
I don't know.
They don't let me in there.
What's the place right at the Westwood Square there? The Asian place. I know they have some desserts there.
Well, should we include Susie Swirl?
She's there.
She's there.
What about you got sweets on there, right?
Yep. Sue, I know you're listening. How you doing? Walk by every morning.
I know. She's a nice lady. She needs to come on. Come on, Sue.
She's very friendly, very talkative. Sue, I'm going to send you another email. Maybe you want to respond to it. And last thing on my list was I saw some places closed on Sunday. No employees to work.
That's horrible. It's getting worse.
It's
Lantern was closed. I went in there Saturday. Pam and I went in there, and I tell you what, they had that bartender that was working there was busting his hump, and there was a group that came in, kind of a bar crawl type of group, but it was a huge group. The guy was going nuts. I mean, just that there's no help. And
they look like
I was going to jump behind the bar, but I don't know how to work the computer screen to log in a drink.
Neither do they.
Yeah,
one for you, two for me.
He was doing a great job. Unfortunately, he was, they had him and only two waiters handling the whole Saturday night, which I don't get it.
Well, maybe
I know Joe's that way. I know all those guys are strapped, especially with winter coming. I mean, I don't know.
Well, maybe we should celebrity bartend, or I can flip a burger. I kind of take up a lot of space.
I might have to go back and put my Lantern apron on. I used to bartend there, but that was when it was beer and wine. You didn't have to really think through making drinks. It was beer and wine and just start swinging.
Oh, yeah. Give me an old fashioned. Here you go, Budweiser.
Is that an old fashioned Bud label or a new one?
All right. So we got Francesca.
What we need to do is celebrity bartending. Maybe that's a good idea, Pete.
Well, first of all, we got to become a celebrity, right?
Oh, we can find some.
Hey, what's
Oh,
that
my
tall?
brother used to be a bartender at McCormick's. Maybe if he comes on the show, we can get him to celebrity.
Wait a minute, you have a brother?
Sure do.
Huh?
He's
I've heard
avoiding it.
about I've heard about him. I've never seen him.
Johnny Walker,
Black, white.
or black.
So we got Francesca's, Deer Path, Lantern Sweets, Chiefs, Gerhardt's, Susie Swirl.
Are we going to go into Lake Bluff? We're a Lake Bluff team.
I think I think Lake Bluff's going to be their own deal, man.
Or they can
It's
write
hard.
in. They can write in. And
Yeah,
have a
sure.
write-in candidate.
Yeah, with no space to write in. That's how we roll here. Okay.
I'm not going to say anything.
Okay, great. Last call. Anything, Skoo?
No. Have a great weekend. Scouts girls play tonight. Waukegan, come out and support. Be an athletic supporter.
Is this basketball?
Yeah, basketball.
Oh,
Sorry.
okay. Are you calling a game?
I am calling it.
All right. Interesting.
5:30 JV, 7 o'clock varsity.
What's easier calling, football or basketball?
I would probably say what's easier? Probably football.
Yeah, because you could see better at basketball, but it's just so many more interactions.
Yeah, no, I think football's easier. It's more
All
fun
right.
as good basketball teams. That's fun, but
All right, Skoo, and everybody out there, thanks for listening to the Lake Forest Podcast. Please give us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and smash that like button on Facebook, Instagram, and follow us on Twitter. Let us know what you'd like to hear about on the upcoming shows. Again, I'm Pete and can be reached at pete@lakeforestpodcast.com. The link will be in the podcast notes. On behalf of my co-host, Skoo Walker, we thank you for listening, and we thank our Patreon supporter, sponsor, Shark Guy Beach Fishing. Shark Guy is your guy for the Premier South. Mr. Shark, Senior Shark. Premier South Florida beach fishing experience. They're out of Longboat Key, Florida. World-renowned captains not only put you on the fish, but they'll help you and your family make a memory of a lifetime. Check them out on Facebook or sharkguybeachfishing.com. Contact them today to schedule an outing. We'd like to say thanks to our Patreon supporters, Reverend Luke Beck and the Church of the Holy Spirit, Matt A., Elizabeth B., Costa, Lance, and Domo Origato Otto. Have a great weekend, everybody. Prep up for Christmas. Cue the music.